They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. Do you think the gallant pioneers are sitting up in the Rangers Pantheon right now, absolutely killing themselves laughing at us, just looking down thinking, you've done that song, you wrote that song, all about the hardships we went through to get this club founded and up and running 152 years ago, and yet just now you're all screaming, is it, oh, we have no CEO, no director of football, not even a ground. So we just borrowed Hampden, the 52,000 capacity all-seater stadium that's hosted the Champions League final and the European Championships. I think we'll get by. We're going to be okay. Surely we're going to be all right. I wouldn't panic about it too much. This is your Fat Egg post-match reaction pod coming to you in association with the Gersnet microphone and also the new monotone microphone, a new piece of equipment that's sweeping the world of audio, visual, tape recording type stuff. You can get it at Glenn's, Hutchison's, Robertson's and Stepek. I think it was used today by Tom Miller and Kevin Thompson on Rangers TV, so everybody's using it now, all the great guys are using it. But the benefit of that, the monotone microphone, is, for example, if you're like me today and you've bought the game on Rangers TV, $7.99, that works out less than £1 a goal, that's good value, and you're watching it on your laptop in the kitchen. You've got the fridge right behind you, haven't you? You get the hob just over there, they get the kettle in the corner. You're just going to end up, it's a pre-season friendly, so your focus is going to wander. You're going to end up going to make yourself a wee sandwich, maybe stick on a wee chicken in the oven, put a couple of chips on while you're at it, maybe a wee can of Coke. There's ice cream in the freezer as well. You've got to have a wee snack. You've got to have a wee snack while you're watching the game. And so if you get up next to the hob and you get the butter out, your butter in the bread, I'm not going to bother moving the laptop, right? Because I'm an old man, so I treat, even though it's a laptop, the minute it's plugged in, I've got the picture going, I treat it like a television that can't be moved, like you have in the 1970s. So it's something, but you can hear the commentators, you can't see the picture, but you can hear the commentators and you can hear the intonation and the excitement in their voice. If Rangers get anywhere near putting a move together, get anywhere near the Union Berlin goal, you're going to hear the excitement, so you'll stop making that sandwich. You'll stop making that sandwich. So what happened today is Rangers score one of the best goals we've scored in about 10 years. Straight away. I have no idea. But I get my sandwich finished. By the time I sit, if I'd known that we were working it across the midfield and Diamonde was playing a beautiful ball through to Cyril Dessers, who everybody thinks kind of hit a barn door with the side of a coup or banjo the ball, whatever the expression is. But he rounds the keeper, slots it in the back net. Just great goal, fantastic goal. But I would have let that distract me from making my sandwich if there'd been any hint whatsoever in the intonation of Tom commentator or Kevin Thompson's voice there. You couldn't tell the difference. I mean, the Union Berlin players could have been firing the ball through the window of the old Forester's house next to the stadium, or Rangers could be scoring an absolutely wonderful goal. There was just no hint whatsoever. The new monotone microphone, I'm going to get a down for Kevin Thompson if I don't watch myself, hopefully. He's not going to be hearing this, because I mean, it'd be good though. I would wear it like a badge. If Kevin Thompson, you don't just do me with one punch, that'd be it. I'd just wear it like a badge in the coffin. I would want that on my grave, decked by Kevin Thompson. I love Kevin Thompson and I love Tom commentator Tom Miller as well. He's absolutely brilliant. See, I know his Twitter handle as well because I idolise the guy. So just joking, lads. It's only a pre-season friendly though. Quite right. You shouldn't be getting too excited about that as a Rangers player. But I'm here. My name's Alec Anderson. Just a little bit. A little bit more. And I'm here to talk to you about the Union Bears and Union Berlin. 4-each draw in Copenhagen in East Germany today. Copenhagen is southeast Germany, southeast Berlin. It is. Let's call it East Berlin because when I was a kid, it's quite romantic. Terrible. No, a total hardship. It's all about the Second World War and then the Soviet Union moving in there and they have to be part of the Warsaw Pact. It's subjugation of the people in that part of the world. Absolutely terrible. But as a kid, you don't know that. And it was the Cold War. It was the other side of the Berlin, other side of the Iron Curtain. East Germany, East Berlin in particular, was really mysterious and enticing. Ominous. It was going to be the eye of the storm in a Third World War, it seemed like, in the 60s at one point. You'd read all the John le Carre novels, wouldn't you? They were really subtle novels, really subtle. It was all the trade craft of the spies, like a yellow chalk mark on a certain tree next to a certain bench in a certain fog-enshrouded Berlin park could mean that a KGB guy was wanting to defect, or it could just mean that another, American spy was notifying you of a Dropbox that you could leave some microfiche in, and that would let them know. But it's just even the TV adaptation of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Alec Guinness, or the what do you call it, Thomas Alfredson film with Gary Oldman playing George Smiley. You have to concentrate. They're quite cerebral because it's really subtle stuff. In East Germany today, in East Berlin today, it was more like a Dan Brown novel, maybe even Barbara Cartland. You're just like, what is that? What? No way, man. That's completely unrealistic garbage. But quite entertaining. Keeps you going. I've been on holiday. I've been on holiday, then the summer holiday stuff. I'm going to go back on holiday next week as well. But I felt I had to, I had to have a proper holiday. I haven't watched any Rangers pre-season. This is the sixth game, half dozen games I've had in this weird pre-season. It's been completely played away from Ibrox. None of these games took place at Ibrox, and this was our final pre-season friendly today before we get the business started properly, hopefully against Hearts at Tynecastle next Saturday. We've only won one, and it was the first one, and it was 5-2 at Auchenhowie in front of nobody against Hamilton Accies. A 0-0 with Standard Liège over in the Netherlands. I think that was behind closed doors as well. We then lost 2-1 to Ajax in front of a crowd, but not in the Amsterdam Arena in the Netherlands. And Tom Lawrence scored in that. That's him scored a goal away in the Eredivisie side and then 2 goals away to Bundesliga side today. Looking good, Tom Lawrence. We lost 2-0 to Manchester United. The Manchester United reserves at Murrayfield, Scottish rugby home, last Saturday. We went to St Andrews in Birmingham. We lose 2-1 to a League One side, albeit quite a rich English League One side. It's embarrassing. It's not good enough. People started getting a bit hysterical about the manager, etc. And then today we've drawn 4 each. The Union Bears and Union Berlin 4 each. It's like a Torquay United strip they were wearing, wasn't it? Torquay. First I saw the Union Berlin away kit. It's a bit like the one Spain wore against Albania in the European Championships there. But then close, I thought maybe it was a bit like the Liverpool kit, the kind of early to mid-80s. Ian Rush scoring that lob goal, the control in the chest lob volley thing into the away end at Villa Park. That great footage with the red pinstripes on the all yellow. But as you go close up, there's 2 kind of white stripes on it. It's like Torquay United. Are they raging because John Leafeco went to Exeter and they're trying to get a whole kind of thing going there? I don't know, but it seemed like a white. 10 German bombers. We were singing 10 German bombers. Not 2 weeks ago, the England fans were in Berlin, another stadium in Berlin, and they're giving it all that. But we're the British club. We've got to up the ante because we're a properly British club. I don't like singing 10 German bombers because Berlin is just, I don't know, what's cabaret? It's not like that. It's a bit cabaret. Berlin, East Berlin, maybe it's been drilled out East Berlin by the kind of successive totalitarian regimes since the middle of last century. But Berlin's a great place, totally eclectic, and it's very much like Paris last night, the opening ceremony, the Olympic Games. People go, why is that? I tuned in to watch sport. I didn't tune in to watch gay folk and trans folk and all that. You don't see any sport during the opening ceremony, the Olympics. What are you talking about? Get something proper to worry about. And that's, we've got something proper to worry about. The way Rangers have gone through this pre-season, but I didn't watch any of the games until today's, because if you're into Rangers in any way, shape or form, you know that when we kick off 12:30 Tynecastle next Saturday, that's you for 10 months. That's your brain is completely consumed with those men in blue for 10 straight months, and it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be intense. You're going to be falling out with folk on Twitter. You're going to be falling out with folk at the football. You're going to be falling out with yourself, falling out with your wife, husband, partner, whatever. It's going to be intense. So you need your holidays, and I'm going to switch off. I don't want to know. But then after that game against, I saw some Man U fans and a few Rangers fans when I was in the town for another reason last Saturday, and then on Wednesday night, try to avoid the game on Wednesday night again. Tav scores an own goal. It was a deflection. It just deflected off him. And the stuff starts happening on Twitter. It's no good enough. The manager might have to go. There's no shape to the team. There's no energy. The body language is terrible. So I'm going to have to watch this. And I've been on holiday, and to try an effort to help me forget about Rangers, I've done a bit of eating, a bit of drinking. You might have noticed I might have put on a wee bit of weight. 23 stone nearly, kicking the ass off 23 stone I was when I went on the scales midweek. Now I'm quite tall, but I'm not 7'8". So I'm basically going to die. I turned 55 quite recently, and it looks like Rangers have more chance of getting to 56 next year than I have if I don't get myself sorted out. And there's something that happens when you're morbidly obese, particularly in a holiday time. You think to yourself, I'm either going to, just, it's a medical emergency. I need to have like a boiled egg for my breakfast, then go for a 10-mile walk, come back, have an apple, go for another 10-mile walk, and then go to my bed. You know, I need to starve myself and just get this. So it's an absolute emergency. Or because you're on holiday, you think, well, if I just have whiskey and no beer, you know, and if I just have a couple of packets of McCoy's flame grilled steak crisps as opposed to them and chips and a kebab, what difference is it going to make? I'm lessening the amount of fatty stuff that I'm having. So probably overall, I probably am losing weight. And it looked like the Rangers team the day was stuck in that exact same quandary. The attack was given it, this is a medical emergency, we need to sort ourselves out, we've got a week till we play Hearts at Tynecastle, and we are seriously, seriously unfit as a first team squad. We need to get on this. They were just attacking everything. They were attacking the Union Berlin goal, and they were just attacking the general sloth around Rangers just now, the general negativity. Whereas the defence were giving it, well, we're losing 4 goals to a Bundesliga side. They played in the Champions League last season. They must be pretty decent. It's not as bad as losing 2 goals to Birmingham City. It was good and it was terrible. It was the full gamut we went through today. It's a draw. Draws are, you know, the good and the bad is perfectly balanced. That's how a draw works. You could have been saying today, oh well, defence was absolutely fantastic because they kept a clean sheet, but we couldn't score up front. We've got a real problem scoring goals. It was all the way about today. We were fantastic in attack and we were absolutely terrible at the back. I didn't do very well at take a draw. That wasn't it. It came to my options end of second year at secondary school. I wasn't doing take it, and nobody was encouraging me to do take a draw. I was absolutely terrible at it. I'm not very practically minded, as you could probably tell by this patter. But even I know what a set square is. Even I know how it works. Like the halfway line, for example, that's the bottom of the set square. See when a boy appears on our right-hand side, on the Union Berlin left-hand side, he just goes an inch into our half, and then he pings it right like along the diagonal, like just drawing a line along the diagonal of the set square, and you know there's going to be a guy arriving at that top point of the set square just to walk the ball into the back of the net, because by the time they scored the third goal, Union Berlin, they knew how to open up Rangers. I was hoping eventually we'd win by 5-4, so I can make a lot of puns about a narrow win, because Rangers have never looked more narrow, particularly in defence. But by that point in time, Union Berlin, they scored a goal after 5 minutes where they kind of hit the byline down our right-hand side and pinged it across to the back post, and the fella had to kind of shuffle about a bit to get the ball into the back of the net. Butland got a hand to it, but he pushed it into the bottom corner. Didn't have a good game today, Jack Butland, but maybe that's because of what's in front of him. By the time they'd got their penalty through walking through his midfield and down our right-hand side, they knew just diagonal. The best way, every match report on this game today, the best way to sum up all 4 of the Union Berlin goals is just to put in the phrase torn apart down the flanks. We looked terrible down the flanks, but in attack we were fantastic. The team started, let's get the basics in here, Alec. Jack Butland in goals, James Tavernier back trying to get match fitness with the captain's armband on at right back. We had Hefty, I don't know what he's called, at left back. I know I was calling him a few times today. We had Ben Davis and Suter looking up for it anyway, John Suter at centre half. Connor Barron, Diamande, we engine room that's sitting 2 in midfield. Tom Lawrence in instead of Huffy Todd Cantwell. See you later, Todd, at number 10. On the left-hand side, you had Oscar Cortez. On the right-hand side, it was Scott Wright. And up front, on his own, the man himself, Cyril Dessers. And it was great to see Cortez back. You saw Cortez and you're thinking, that's why we didn't win the league last season. It was asking a lot for us to fight back and get back top of the table in February, but losing the likes of Cortez is one of the main reasons we didn't go on to win that league. I'm not blaming the manager. I'm blaming Michael Beale and what he did to that squad and its general fitness, although Cortez wasn't involved in that, but there's a knock-on effect. He was back on the left-hand side, and I think this is good, and he was involved, piling forward. First 4 minutes, we looked absolutely fantastic, really bright, really up for it. And then next thing, I'm seeing Connor Barron gutting out a decked Oscar Cortez, who has to be able to get there in time, as Union Berlin can more or less walk in the first goal of the game. It's one of those ones you watch it back, and it's a car crash. three of the goals, in fact, all 4 of the goals we lost were a total car crash. Is it because Hefty's nowhere to be seen. He's our left back. This guy's coming down our left-hand side to score. But Hefty's went over one to cover for Ben Davis. Is he too far? Is Ben Davis too far over to the other side? Is Ben Davis going over to cover for John Souttar? I basically lost track of where the mistake started to try and work back. It's like a CSI Rangers defence type programme to try and work out where it actually went wrong. But in it went. It was 1-0 at Union Berlin. Looked like a bit of a disaster. I don't know if Cortez is getting blamed. He's no match fit, obviously. He's just come back for long-term injury. So he's busting. I got to try and work his way all the way back into his own 6-yard box, basically. And is he getting blamed just because he nearly got there? He's near the scene of the crime. He's actually getting blamed wrongly because he's done his best he could to get there. He's nearly pulled it off. Or was it really his job to mark the guy who put the ball in the back of the net? Who knows? But that was us 1-0 down. But just as I was making that sandwich, what a move. It's Cortez is involved. Tom Lawrence is involved. As much as I can't pinpoint where it went wrong for the first goal, I've lost track of who exactly was involved in our equaliser. Just phenomenal. But sliding into Connor Barron and Diamande, a fantastic first half. Maybe for losing 3 goals in that first half, the sitting two can I get 10 out of 10 for their performance, and they certainly faded in the second half, though came back into it latterly. But they're working away. They've got a great wee understanding going there, I thought, and they're really encouraging. Connor Barron, new signing, Diamande in there from January last season. Looked absolutely fantastic. So they were doing well. They're involved, fast moving the ball across the kind of midfield area. I think Tom Lawrence, maybe Scott Wright was involved, but ends up with Diamande playing a beautiful, like a defence slicing ball right through to Cyril Dessers, who takes it around the goalkeeper and slots it in beautifully, all in one movement, one flowing movement, and it was really good. So there you go. It was kind of, this game in general reminded me a bit of when we lost 4-3 to Spartak Moscow in Steven Gerrard's first season in the Europa League. If we'd had VAR then, we wouldn't have lost that game. We would have at least drawn the game that night in Moscow, and if we had VAR today, maybe we wouldn't have. We would actually have won this game. It's a friendly, so VAR not in play. But the penalty that we then lose about 5 minutes, concede a penalty about 8 minutes later after equalising. Diamande goes in to cover for a mistake by Tav and probably a few others before then, and I can't see it clearly. I still can't see it clearly in the replays, but he seems to block the shot, and the fella just hits the deck, and the referee gives a penalty straight away. And the Rangers players were upset about it. Well, John Souttar and Diamande seemed visibly upset about it. Good attitude anyway, if nothing else. Try to take everything I can from this game. But before that, it was James Tavernier, clearly unfit. Clearly, and his head's probably gone as well, Tav, because he's coming back and he's taking the captain's armband, and Jack Butland's probably dying to get the captain and say, I don't know, I've been trying to get away from Rangers all through the holidays, not have my ear to the ground on purpose, but it's supposed to be going to Trabzonspor. He's agreed his personal terms with the Turkish outfit, but the clubs haven't agreed the fee. I don't know what's happening there, but Tav, clearly unfit, clearly trying to get his fitness back, and maybe his head, as I say, is gone as well, because doesn't know where he's going to be playing his football, where he's going to be living, etc. Probably a situation shared by a few of the players there. So he lets the fella kind of jog on past him. He tries to does that thing Tav will do, where he'll just try to jockey the fella out to the wing, but then there's 2 big divots of grass up in the air. Tav is turned inside out. He falls on his arse. The pitch is partly to blame, but also Tav's not going to get a break from the Rangers support, so he's to blame. The fella turns inside, and the referee adjudges Diamande to have fouled him. The 10 German bombers, so they've wore 10, Jack Butland kits. The Union Berlin away kit is exactly the same, apart from a black stripe versus a white stripe, the same as Jack Butland's kit. But anyway, the fella steps up to take a penalty against what looks like one of his outfield teammates. Jack Butland does that thing again where he stands behind the goal line. This is his penalty routine. I don't think it's worked yet, has it? And the guy puts him the wrong way, and it goes back of the net. 2-1, and then it's, 32 minutes, I think it was. Tom Lawrence. It's Scott Wright, who was wearing a bit of a Under Armour, kind of round neck thing. It looked more like a turtleneck, almost like a kind of crew neck thing. He was wearing polo neck. He had the kit looking like today. Hair's a bit darker, a bit longer. Is that blonde tints, or is it just caught in the sunshine? Long and short of it is, he looks like Bono in that kind of 1981, 82, early 80s Old Grey Whistle test session where U2 really announced themselves to the whole of Britain. I will follow. He looked a bit like Bono in that period. But anyway, he driving through the middle, doing really well, lays the ball off to Cyril Dessers towards the edge of the box. Dessers cuts in, has a shot for off the edge of the box, hits off a defender, and comes back to the feet of Tom Lawrence, who, about 3 or 4 yards inside the box, right in the middle of the box, hits it. I think it takes a bounce off the grass, but it goes into the bottom left-hand corner. Keeper gets a hand to it, but in it goes. 2 each. This is an end-to-end game. I'm enjoying this. We're going to be okay. Rangers are refusing to bow down. They're refusing to be intimidated by their own mistakes. Next thing, Tav doing what Tav does. Now, if you look at last season, we played, I think, 3 German teams of varying standard, amateur to second tier to Bundesliga in our pre-season friendly programme, and Tav scored against all of them, and he also scored against soon to be Conference League winners, UEFA Conference League winners, Olympiacos. A lot of penalties, but he also set up a goal as well as scoring a penalty against Hoffenheim in Hoffenheim. He pulls one across the goal for Sam Lammers to put in as well. He sets up Sam Lammers to score for us. Remember him? So when Tav's not contributing, we need to take a note of that. But I think one of the memes, one of the things that's popped up, an easy, totally incorrect criticism of James Tavernier that I was seeing again the other night when the ball went in off him for amounts to an own goal, is he costs us more goals than he scores, which is completely nonsense. But I think James Tavernier, maybe not getting a testimonial, maybe on his way out, has decided a kind of dirty protest to prove. Do you think I actually score more goals for the opposition? I cause more goals for the opposition than I score for Rangers. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll actually make a point of doing that to prove to you that you've never seen this before. So he scores one for Birmingham City the other night, but he didn't. Today, he maybe responsible for the first goal, so the penalty that we lost to go 2-1 down. But he works a lovely ball, puts a great ball in for Tom Lawrence at the front post, and Tom Lawrence just can't get there in time. It's just been an easy striker's finish. He should have 2 goals in 2 minutes, Tom Lawrence, but he misses it, but he makes up for it a few seconds later. Tav, again, slots him right in. A lovely ball straight to the feet of Tom Lawrence as he moves into the box, kind of centre slightly to the right-hand side, kind of gets the ball out from under his feet, Tom Lawrence, by kind of scooping it up into the top corner, bending around the goalie. So he's put the first one in the bottom left, he puts the next one in the top right. He's got 2 goals in 5 minutes. Rangers are winning 3-2. That's just great stuff. Here we go. I'm starting to really enjoy this then. Diamandi's starting to enjoy it so much he tries to score for the halfway line, and that's too much. Too much, kind of ruined the tempo, ruined the pace of things, and they had that goal where the guy just dinked it diagonal. What are we going to do here? Union Berlin completely panicking. We know that they're terrible with the diagonal. Slots one up to the back post, and the guy walks it in. Down the tunnel at half time, it's 3 each. It's a bit mind bending. Come out the second half, no changes, or certainly no the mass changes that you get for your typical pre-season friendlies, and it looks like the manager is trying to. He's concentrating and getting his first 11 together for next week. Though I hope Jefty is not in that first 11. But he's maybe trying to get as many minutes into the leg of certain players. But he's trying to get a pattern going. This. He can't have us being shapeless going into our first competitive game of the season, quickly followed by that Champions League qualifier, third round qualifier over in Poland against Dynamo Kiev. And we start, I think Scott Wright hits the byline, pulls it back. Tom Lawrence the second chance to get a hat-trick. He kind of runs out of pitch basically before he can round the goalkeeper towards the corner of the 6-yard box. And then it's all Union Berlin, and again Tav's involved as they equalise. Sorry, as they go 4-3 up. I'm losing track of the goals. And he gets worked around, and they play a nice 1-2, Union Berlin, but there's so much space for them down our right-hand side. And Tav's kind of caught in the headlights as they walk the ball around him and a few other Rangers players in it. But there's still a couple of, I think it's Suter and Davis in front of the goalie, in front of Jack Butland. And the guy, it's a kind of scooped, half-chipped, half daisy cutter type of shot that takes a few deflections, and Jack Butland, it doesn't look good. Didn't have a good game today, Jack Butland, as I say, but it could be because of everything that's going on in front of him, and he's unsighted, and it's a really clumsy, horrible looking goal, and it's 4-3, and suddenly at this point in time you're realising from thinking, well, it's end-to-end stuff, at least we're attacking, you can write it off as a pre-season friendly. It's against Bundesliga opposition. You're suddenly thinking, if we lose another goal, it's 5, and when was that? That was just under the hour. It was just before the hour mark. So there's a long way to go in a game where there's already been 4 goals scored against us in the first hour. You think if we end up losing 5, 6 goals here, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. It doesn't matter how many we score in reply. It just looks bad. It's a real confidence blow, and what has been a bit of a confidence blow of a pre-season. But We weather the storm. Leon King comes on. Tav goes off after an hour. Clearly, as I say, lacking in fitness. But Leon King, and it's a strange thing to see Tav so lacking in fitness. But Leon King comes on with a few other substitutions. We kind of plug things up. Union Berlin are kind of on top of things. But then I think the last 10 minutes or so, a few more subs as the game goes on. We start to get back into Rabbi Matondo comes on, stuff like that. Leon Balian comes on for Davis, I think. So a few subs, and essentially when we take Hefty off and we bring on Yilmaz, we start looking really good. But there's a point, I think it's before he goes off, Ben Davis plays a ball from around about the halfway line, or deep in our half, right up towards the centre half. Quite an easy ball, and it's a Union Berlin mistake. Comes off the back of centre half's head, and Johnny on the spot is sharp as anything. Cyril Dessers, he's there, and then he starts the soft shoe shuffle. And one foot, the other foot, goalie, couple of centre halves, and he ends up slotting it through the goalie. Like, goalie scored a few times last season against Hibs at Easter Road. I think maybe against Livingston, certainly against Morton in the League Cup, maybe at Ibrox. That thing, and Hibs at Ibrox as well. I think in Clement's first game as manager, that 4-0 win, he does that thing where he just kind of soft shoe shuffle, beats 3 or 4 guys. And I think if we're looking to sell Cyril Dessers, as so many of us are, that's put another £1 million maybe. But on the show reel, and what he's done is there's been a brilliant ball played straight through to him by Diomande as he's running into the box, and he's been sharp. He's no messed about. This whole thing I was hearing, against Manchester United, people were going crazy. The fact he just can't get the ball, that the ball wasn't sticking to him, and also it's taking too long to shoot and all that. And I know what that's like watching Cyril Dessers. I think he's one of these players that would benefit from being like Todd Cantwell, who I love Todd Cantwell when he first came to Rangers. And I'm only been. I'm trying to be funny, calling him Huffy Todd and what have you. I think he'll be absolutely fine, Todd Cantwell, but it's time for him to move on. I loved some fantastic skills, fantastic goals he scored. Bit of bite, it seemed like at first, but it became more and more just a bit of kind of huffiness and self-obsession. That's what it looked like anyway. And I think the manager has kind of exposed the flaws with Todd Cantwell. He needs to be running everything. It looks like being able to do what he wants. Treated really badly by Scottish football and Scottish referees, no doubt, Todd Cantwell. So I've got a lot of sympathy for him. And no hard feelings towards him. I hope he finds a new club and he goes from strength to strength. But he's one of those players I think was getting a lot more praise from people because he's either completely not there, sometimes not even picked, sometimes subbed off, or when he is there he can do something brilliant. The likes of Cyril Dessers is getting the ball at his feet, and sometimes not able to get it out from under his feet. He's not able to, but he's getting like 22, 23 goals because he's missing 22, 23 chances on top of the 22, 23 that he's scoring. And it plays into this whole worry I've got that people don't appreciate how you go from A to B in football, that people just want things. The whole thing with England at the Euros, people want them to be like Manchester City, and it took, even with all the money in the world, Manchester City well over a decade to go from just winning the FA Cup to be able to win the Champions League. That their money was clearly deserving almost. There's a Champions League winning level money they were getting. PSG have yet to win that Champions League, throwing money at it. So to ask Rangers to go from being in the bottom tier of Scottish football in 2012 to be retaining the league title and being near perfect every season, that's I think that's part of the overreaction we get when things are going badly, and they are going badly just now. But I think it's part of the process of getting back to the very top for Rangers. Infrastructure was ripped at the club in 2012. This is how things will happen. We'll have overachievement, winning the league unbeaten, get to the European final, and we'll have these moments where we go into a new season with new players, or we're needing to sign them all in a week. Vaclav Cherny, we used to get loan signings from Wolves, now we're getting them from Wolfsburg. He didn't play today. Not ready to start for us, but hopefully he's the start. We get Lawrence Shanklin in this week as well, will be quite good, especially when we get him at centre half. We can maybe use somebody there, but it's going to take a while to get things sorted, and I think people they've wanted rid of all these losers, and I always thought that was a horrible and inaccurate way to talk about Tav, Lundstrom, Connor Goldson. Well, Goldson's almost certainly away. John Lundstrom is away. Tav looks like he's going to be going as well. But you have, never mind the spine, the total goalie, centre-half, midfielder, striker, there's a kind of psychological, emotional spine to Rangers as well. When you take out these players who you think are responsible, a lot of people think are responsible for the loser mentality, but you take out these players, they've got to be replaced, and you can't replace them overnight. You can't. We don't have a director of football. Niels Coppin's working wee miracles now as director of recruitment, but we can't and just have everything up and ready to go until we start selling these players and getting the decent money in from them. That's slowly starting to happen, too slowly for everybody's liking. It might cost us our place in the Champions League, and that will have a knock-on effect. But this is what it is. This is what happens. You're going to be terrible at Birmingham City when you've got a team made up of players who are not going to be used this season, are probably going to be sold in the next few weeks. And you've lost all these big names, and the ones that's remaining, Tav, is totally unfit. And this is what's going to happen. It's going to take a while. So Cyril Dessers, I think, embodies what it's going to be. Like, he's so annoying. It's so annoying. Don't get me wrong. When he just won't shoot at times, it's so annoying. But see, today he did that thing where the one where he had to take a chance straight away, he did, and the one where the ball comes to him, all of a sudden he looks like Ronaldo, original Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, fat Ronaldo, walking into the back of the net. Looks the business, looks the absolute business. So hopefully, if we can get our money back on him, maybe even more. After that little display today, if we're selling the showreels around the agents of Europe of Cyril Dessers, we've got the 4.5 million, but it is for Sam Lammers. We could have won the game towards the end today, but we had a couple of chances. But I was just glad that we didn't concede that fifth goal, certainly. But I think the manager, I can understand if Philip Clement goes, the state of things at Rangers. We don't know where they're going to be playing next season. For all I'm joking about at the beginning of the pod, it's pretty bad when you don't know where the club is going to be, when they're going to get back to Ibrox, what your home stadium is going to be. It sounds like he feels kind of let down on the financial commitment. But I think it's more a case of he needs to make that point, or needs to hint at it heavily in interviews, just so the fans understand that it's no him. I don't think it's completely on the board either. Obviously, they'll take the blame, but things are happening. I think they tried to do the work on the Copland Road for the very, very best of reasons, and it's had a knock-on effect. We've got to get these players sold, the big names sold. It looks like Sam Lammers is going to be, we're getting maybe 4 million back for him. The Cifuentes thing is, if we're getting £5 million for Cifuentes, Jesus, Niels Coppin, absolute hero. So there is, I don't think it's going to happen fast enough. I don't think we're going to get into the Champions League. I think we'll do Hearts. Anytime Hearts smell blood with us, we paste them. Anytime it looks like Hearts are going to really go for them, this is the time that they're going to get Rangers. We give them a doing. I would be really worried if we don't win against Hearts, but I think it's quite realistic that what looks like an informed Dynamo Kiev might do is over the 2 legs of the Champions League qualifier and straight into that Europa League group stage we will go, making much less money than Celtic. But it's a vortex within a vortex for me. I've got this whole kind of pet theory that it's going to take us 20 years to recover from what happened to us in 2012. So this is the kind of thing that does happen. Like, you're not able, this whole thing of people can't visualise how Cyril Dessers is going to get 20 odd goals a season. They can't handle the fact that means he'll miss 30 odd chances a season. That Rangers will, go out the Scottish Cup and the League Cup to St Mirren before we even get to Hampden in a season in which we win the league unbeaten. People start doing that thing. It's a kind of spoilt child thing, I think, of, well, it doesn't make any sense. If they can win the league without losing a game, they should be able to win the Scottish Cup and the League Cup. It's not, the energy they're putting into winning the league is maybe taken away from what they can do in the Scottish Cup. It's, for me, the main thing is you can't just keep a manager for the sake of keeping a manager, but we've 4 managers in the space of 4 years. We need to get through an entire season with the same fucking manager. And unless it's 100% certain that Philip Clement, who is a good CV before he even arrived here, and I think he comes across well, and I think he does okay, the big man, unless you're 100% certain that he is garbage, then we need to be holding on to him, because there needs to be something fixed. And that's the thing with Rangers since 2012. At the start, it was Alan McCoist. It was the manager. He was the only fixed thing we had. Cowboys in and out the boardroom. It's not always who it should be. You should have the foundations of a great board, and then they appoint the manager and the whole coaching team, and then that's not what it's been like at Rangers since 2012. And I don't think it will be as everything will be running smoothly. We'll be retaining league titles until 2032. But as we go into this season, I think the one thing that is, we should crave anything and anybody who is consistent. I would keep James Tavernier to coach the rest of the team, but I think the fans have got to the point where they just, it's a mass delusion as far as I'm concerned. The idea that Tav is there to be purely a defender, he's there to help us with overloads, etc. Anyway, I think it would be to the detriment of the club. Right or wrong, it's just got to the point where I think Tav needs to go. For his sake more than anything else, but also I think it would be bad. But in an ideal situation, I would have him there. If people could appreciate what it was all about, I would have him there to make sure he was coaching these new players that were getting in. That are kind of on-field coach, kind of looking after them. But no, it's not going to happen. So I think we were at Birmingham City the other night. We're at the 10 German Bombers is getting it today. Just at once, not very loudly. So that's unfortunate, but that's fine. But that's never mind the 1940s and the RAF and Bomber Harris and that kind of thing. Go back to Rock's Drift, the 1870s. Zulu, the film Zulu. We went to St Andrews the other night and we're playing. The Birmingham City, their hooligan firm is the Zulus, the Zulu army. And I remember seeing the hooligan porn documentary. Who is it? Danny Dyer, and he's talking to the Zulu guys. One of the fellas there was a bit of a writer as well, so there's interviewing a whole lot of the Zulu firm in a booze on Birmingham, and one of the guys is reading out one of his wee books, and it's all about how when you're getting charged by, say Aston Villa, it'll probably be coming at you. It's like you've got to hold your ground. And it's hold, and I think he was referencing the scene in the film Zulu, Michael Caine and all that, where the Zulu are piling down at Rock's Drift and they're charging, and they've only got a certain amount of ammunition. They've got to wait till they get close. The Welsh Guard, or it's a Welsh battalion or something. Anyway, I can't remember, but like the British are like, right, we've got to wait, hold, and then you shoot them. Wait until they get really close, and I think Rangers have got to do the same thing. The Rangers support has got to do the same thing just now. There's too much up in the air about the club. Playing personnel, no CEO, no director of football, and the stadium, God knows when we'll get back to Ibrox. It's supposed to be September, but I don't know. And I think we need to make sure that we hold on to what we can keep fixed, what we can keep certain, what we can keep consistent, and that should be Philippe Clement, a man who has won as a trophy already in his short time, and I think did really well last season to get us back into any kind of league race, never mind the fact that it kind of fell away towards the end. It's weird though, isn't it? This pre-season is weird, but I think that suits us. I think that's what we want, because we're going to a pre-season that we weren't at Ibrox. The last time Rangers weren't watched by Rangers supporters at Ibrox pre-season was in 2020, 2021. Now I think pre-season does mean a lot. It does mean it's only friendlies. I saw us being poor last pre-season, and that came to pass. That was realised in what happened to Michael Beale. I remember us, for example, beating Chelsea, a great pre-season match, 2007, and Chelsea got to Champions League final. We got to the UEFA Cup final. The following pre-season, we get gubbed 4-0 off Steven Gerrard's Liverpool. Steven Gerrard playing absolutely running the show in midfield that day for Liverpool. We still won the league, but we went straight out of Europe to Kaunas in ignominious circumstances. So I think there's a great indication in your pre-season form as to what's going to happen. I'm going to try and get away from that, because when we won, Steven Gerrard, when he was Rangers manager, Gerrard had really good pre-seasons. We always had good results on top of good performances. But in 2020, 2021, in the summer of 2020, we won the Viola Cup. We're beating Nice, we're beating Lyon. In Lyon, and we did strange home friendlies. We watched live on telly against Coventry and Motherwell at Ibrox. No fans there because of COVID. I think 4-0 and 2-0 we beat them without conceding a goal. If you win 4-0 and 2-0, you don't concede a goal. Bit of a redundancy there, but tautology. But it was good. We looked good, but we looked terrible this pre-season. So let's focus on the fact that was a weird pre-season. The last time Rangers won the league, there was no Rangers fans there, and wouldn't it just be like the thing? You can just imagine we end up being brilliant playing at Hampden. We're getting a whole lot of new players in who don't know that I've never played at Ibrox before. They'll be quite happy settling into Hampden. If we can get behind them, you never know what's going to happen. And I love the idea. We had the league won by basically end of February, first week of March. That time in 2020, 2021, the 55 season. If we could do that this time, and this time go for the league, and I would love us to. We get forced to play at Hampden. The works turns up. We unearth other problems with Copland Road, and we can't get back to Ibrox until March. But we've already won the league. We won it playing out at Hampden, because we don't win the league playing in front of Rangers fans at Ibrox, do we? No. So let's get it won at Hampden, and then we draw Celtic in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden, and they're like, that's in April. And they're like, it can't be a neutral venue. That's their home ground. That's their home ground. It's totally unfair. And we're at a newly reopened Ibrox going, what? This is, this is a neutral venue. This is our home. This is our house here. What are you talking about? And we end up winning the treble. We draw. We've already won the league, so we play 3-4 games at Ibrox. Already win the league in the league, and we lose them all, or we draw them all, whatever. So you get that whole thing of, how did Rangers manage to win the treble without winning a single game at Ibrox? That'd be a great question, because on the way back from 2012, things are going to be weird. It's always going to be weird. We've won the league without any fans there. When the fans come back, they got us to a European final, so it's nothing to do with that. And it would just like to think if we then won with fans there, Rangers fans there, but no at Ibrox, it seems right to get back, and then it's a few years later we can get back to retaining league titles and what have you. But we don't look great just now, folks. Things are a bit ropey, but I would say stick with it, because what else are you going to do?